What about you? It's the 10th of August, Sunday the 10th of August 2025, and as always a special shout out to my band of Patreon followers. And if you'd like to join their number and support me, you can do it up there. Much appreciated. For the price of a coffee a week, pretty much. You can help me cover the cost of putting this weekly roundup out. Now, I think it's important to be upfront about money, even the minuscule amount that I receive. For instance, I will not accept sponsorship or money from advertisers, as I believe he who pays the piper calls the tune. I believe such candour is essential, especially in the world of politics, where lobbyists have so much power they can turn politicians into prostitutes willing to sell their influence to the highest bidder. It is not a coincidence that the seat of power in the USA, Washington, has an estimated 12,000 political lobbyists operating out of 300 firms. I know it's never been more essential that complete transparency operates with regard to any gifts or monies received by our politicians. We learned this week, for instance, that our Deputy First Minister, Emma Pengelly, accompanied by her husband, Richard Pengelly, Chief Executive of our Education Authority, accepted an invitation from the All England Tennis Club to sit in the Royal Box at Wimbledon. Fair enough, says me. Sure, why wouldn't you go if it's free? But this is where it becomes slightly complicated. Because while the tickets were free and there was no costs incurred by Mr. Pengelly joining his wife on the trip, the Deputy First Minister did pass on £1,000 in costs incurred on flights and accommodation. Now, I stress that no rules were broken. But considering that Mr. and Mrs. Pengelly's annual incomes are £164,000 and £125,000 respectively, most people would have thought they'd have been able to pay for their own flights and accommodation. Surely. Now, admittedly, I don't know all the facts, and the Deputy First Minister may inform us of a multitude of business and or trade benefits for Northern Ireland which have resulted from her sitting in the Royal Box at Wimbledon. Here's the truth. I believe that Emma Pengelly is a competent politician who is an asset to our body politic. I have no problem recognising that at all. I recognise it whether it's from Unionist side or from the Republican side. There are very good politicians working in this wee place. Right, now the proof of just how good a politician that Emma is the fact that she has managed to reach the position of Deputy First Minister without recourse to the ballot box or having a vote cast for her by one of us plebs. Now, that's impressive. I don't care what you say, that's impressive. I also suspect that this was hopefully an administrative error where some civil servant just ticks the box without informing the minister that they had done so. This error is easily remedied. All the minister need do is donate £1,000 to a charity of her choice, and the case is closed. I will watch the news to hear that has happened. Indeed, I'd argue that none of our elected MLAs can take the moral high ground regarding money, as the Northern Ireland Assembly, it makes the House of Lords look like money well spent. Do you understand what I'm saying here? That's the level we're at here. After our MLA's most recent paid holiday, which lasted 2 years, remember, 2 years, top of the other one lasted years. They were only back, was it 8 weeks? 8 weeks. When what did they do? They gave themselves a £500 pay rise. I think in Ulster parlance, that would be described as having one brass neck. One brass neck. The one thing indeed that seems to unite our politicians is money and how much they deserve it. Now here's a breakdown. I'm going to put up a breakdown of the salaries up at the big white elephant. Right. MLA's basic salary starts at 53,000, though that quickly rises to 65 if you have managed to get onto a committee. And we know there's lots of committees up there, loads of committees. Now, if you happen to be an intellectual genius, the likes of Edmund Poots, and become Speaker of the House, your income jumps to 91,000 a year. That's only bettered by the 125,000 we pay for both First and Deputy First Ministers. Now, admittedly, usually Usually the First Minister would be paid more, but this is Northern Ireland. And if one shade gets 125,000, then the other shade has to get 125,000. Or there'll be screaming and shouting and crying and toys thrown out of the pram. Admittedly, our politicians recently agreed to have an independent body set their salaries. But there's a catch. There's always a catch. They agreed too quick, I think, because it's almost guaranteed that this new body will actually increase what they're paid to bring them into line with the 74,000 and 76,000 paid to members of the Scottish and Welsh Assemblies. Now, I would argue this is still somewhat unfair, as those politicians haven't enjoyed the paid holidays which ours MLAs had for years. I won't bore you all by going back over past history and the scandalous graft of our local politicians creaming the system by double jobbing and having family members on their payroll. Is that Granda? Granda, come here, Granda, come here. Right, your job is, right, you are my personal secretary. You don't have to be able to write. Sit down there, right, sit at my desk over there on the phone, right, just answer the phone. You're my personal secretary, £20,000 a year. This is the way it was. So this is why we desperately need some recognition by those we elect into public office that they are not a protected species above the rules that most of us in society abide by. To prove just how detached them's up in the hill are from the reality of those that purport to represent, well, that's exemplified by Stormont's members' dining room. Members' dining room. Like, my families and the elderly here have to choose between heating or eating, our taxes are subsidising their meals of highly paid MLAs. Like, I think if you're getting 50 or 60,000 pound a year, you should be able to pay for your own sandwiches. Do you understand? I would think that would be a basic requirement, because there's people on a minimum wage have to pay for their own sandwiches. And we're not talking about sandwiches here, of course. This is a Stormont restaurant. It's only the best of food on offer up there. Now, let's have a wee rundown of what they actually have to offer. Hold on while I get my computer. Let's have a wee rundown of what they have to offer in the Stormont Assembly. Here, well, for your starters, you can have soup of the day with freshly baked bread. You can have marinated Atlantic prawns, pia panna cotta, horseradish creme. I can't pronounce half a shit. Creme, whatever it is. Brown bread, right? Or you can have char-grilled asparagus, sun-blushed tomato hummus, lemon thyme glazed shallots, toasted, I don't know, for your mains now, you can get, right up there, you can get grilled lemon and oregano marinated chicken breast. I've never seen a chicken marinated. Anyway, you can get crushed sweet potatoes. I wouldn't like my potatoes crushed now, to be honest with you. I like them chipped or I like them baked, not crushed. You can get roast vine tomatoes, lamb's lettuce salad, and wait. Or you can go on down there, you can get spiced beef koftas, Mediterranean couscous, pomegranate and cucumber yogurt, served with kalonji seed flatbread. I have no idea what that is. You know what I mean? Give me a soda farl any day. Don't mind, give me a good soda farl. I'm your happy man. For desserts, you can have lemon posset and summer berries with Stormont Estate honey shortbread. They've got bees up there. The bastards have their own bees. What's going on here? Oh, hang on. You can also have, where is it? Strawberry and coconut brulee. God, there's so many things. With desiccated strawberries. What, dried out strawberries? I wouldn't fancy it. But this is an example. This is an example of what they have up there. Well, the rest of us are getting a fish supper. Now, we can't but presume the food is delicious. What we know for sure is it's heavily subsidised. That would not be the prices they're paying if they had to pay the price, if you understand what I'm saying. Indeed, sit down for this one. Sit down. You're going to fall down. Sit down, I'm telling you. Since 2020, the amount of public money spent on cost-price meals for MLAs has amounted to 1.5 million quid. 1.5 million quid! That's a school. That could be a school that's getting fed into them fat bastards up there for scratching their holes. What adds salt to the caviar up there, right, is that 600,000 of that amount, that 1.5, 600, right, well, nearly a third, right, was spent during the assembly holiday. Remember, they took off for 2 years. Seems our MLAs were happy to go and attend the assembly cafe, if not the assembly chamber. Where else would you get this, people? Do you understand why I get annoyed? Do you understand why I have high blood pressure now? But it would be unfair, and I try not to be unfair, not to point out that some MLAs themselves have been critical of this expense. Though the main political parties, both sides, oh, you couldn't put a sheet of paper between them, they have remained quiet on the subject. No doubt their mouths are full of lobster and steak. That's all I can presume. In conclusion, I make no apology in again returning to the man-made tragedy which is Gaza and the plight of the Palestinian people. This week, the curtain was finally raised and we saw the motivation for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, namely a land grab by Israel. The claim by Netanyahu and his far-right Zionist supporters that the invasion of Gaza was predicated on the need for Israel to protect its own people, something most political leaders, by the way, and media around the world were only too happy to parrot, is now seen to be a lie. From first to last, the attack on Gaza and the West Bank, along with the incursions by Israeli settlers creating illegal settlements, has been cynical opportunism following the brutal attack on October the 7th by Hamas. And while the IDF and Israeli forces, fascists bomb, shoot and starve 2 million people, this Labour government thought it more important to put hundreds of police onto the streets this weekend to arrest supporters of Palestine Action, a group designated by Starmer as a terrorist organisation, even though they were completely peaceful in their campaign to highlight the murderous regime of Netanyahu and the IDF. This resulted in disgraceful scenes this weekend where 365 people were arrested. Some of them in wheelchairs, others grandmothers in their 90s.
There she is, she's tiny. She's about 90.
Keep going. Stop obstructing us, please. Sorry, you're obstructing us. You're obstructing us. You're obstructing us. One guy wasn't too pleased. One guy stood up to the police. And I can tell you by looking at this guy, and I know that the police were able to recognise this child knew a wee bit of kung fu, whatever it was. He knew what he was doing. And they, strangely enough, they didn't arrest him.
She's an old woman. She's an old woman. You can't arrest an old woman. You cannot arrest an old woman like this. She's an old woman. Let her go. 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 Don't touch me. Let her go. 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 Let her go! 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 Let her go!
We weren't left out. Even our wee PSNI got involved in the act. Yeah, they were out arresting people too.
So it's under...
It's given my name in Irish.
So, I'll tell you what is more, you're under arrest under Article 13 of Terrorism Act, and it's for possession of an article, namely a sign or on a t-shirt that indicates support for Palestine Action, okay?
So I'll caution you, you do not have to say anything, but I must caution you that you do not mention when questions, something which you later rely on in court, it may harm your defence. If you do say...
Let her go! Let her go! Let her go!
Disgrace. Absolute disgrace. Absolute.
I'd suggest the old John Boucher, he's crying all the time about being under-resourced, understaffed and underpaid. Well, maybe if he didn't waste his resources and staff in this sort of ridiculous behaviour, they'd go further. Now, let me be clear. Before the PSNI kick down my door, I do not support the Palestine Action Group. I do not support them. I do, however, support the Action for Palestine Group. You see what I did there? Did you see what I did there? I'd genuinely be interested if someone of a legal bent could tell me if changing the order of the words negates this ridiculous government proscription. The evil of this Israeli government, it's like a virus infecting and corrupting the world's body politic. Like, for instance, do I believe that Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary who brought in and prescribed Palestine Action, do I believe she's evil? No, I do not. Still, I do believe her action has tainted what up until now has been a stellar political career. As for Starmer and Trump and their fellow travellers, their legacy will forever be tarnished and framed by the faces of starving children and the twisted, mangled bodies of dead doctors, nurses, medic and journalists slaughtered by the IDF. Indeed, the belated statement by Starmer recently that he will recognise the state of Israel in September was rightly debunked this week on the front page of Private Eye. For when they were dropping aid supposedly into Gaza, which we all knew was never going to work, which played to the world's media, the IDF were very clear that journalists on those planes were not allowed to film the land beneath them. Why was that? The same reason that journalists have not been allowed into Gaza for 2 years. Because they know that if the world saw what they have done and are doing, this is a small clip of what some journalists did film. Yet the Palestine Action Group, who sprayed some paint on planes who were going to help in the destruction of Gaza, they're
What is your current big issue?
Gaza. I feel it particularly because I'm Jewish, because I know how much wickedness and cruelty were meted out to Jews in my lifetime. I was born in 1941. At the height of the Holocaust. And I cannot bear to think that my people are doing exactly the same thing to another nation. And the nation that they're doing it to, the Palestinian nation, was not responsible for the Holocaust, had nothing to do with it. That was a purely European pleasure. And so my heart is broken, and I think the terrible thing I have to face is that Hitler won. He changed us. He made us like him.
You'll do nothing. You hear me? You'll do nothing.